I'd like to welcome everyone to Lackawanna City Council caucus. Today's date is May 9th, 2022. It is now 6:30. And looking at the agenda, the first three items are administrative. The fourth is a communication from Council Member Muflahi requesting the City Council relocate the no parking here to corner sign on Holland Avenue at Ridge Road. Anyone care to be heard on that? Councilwoman.
Councilman, it's Rick Judah.
Hey, Rick.
So that came across my desk and I forwarded it to Mr. DeSantis. The normal course of is in, at least since I've been city attorney, is I have Tony review these to make sure, that the change won't cause any other problems. He did email me back. He is on vacation this week. As you know, he's working part-time now as well, but he told me that the reason it was moved initially was because St. Hyacinth's was running their school and buses had to turn the corner and parents were picking up kids and things like that. But he believes at this point, the school is not, well, it's not as congested as it used to be. And he doesn't even know if they have a lot of busing there now. So he was just gonna check and get back to me. And I don't think there's gonna be a problem with that. So I also wanted him to look at the area to see how far back we could, how far forward we can come with that. Obviously, we want to make sure that fire trucks can get down there and other emergency vehicles if they have to.
So
I'm probably going to have a resolution ready for the next meeting. That's what I'm telling you. And I apologize.
So we should probably table this item?
Yes, we'll refer it to the law department.
All right.
That's what I've got down, Council President, in the notes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Councilman Sturek, I happened to be there on my way home from Washington Street today, and the one sign is the west side sign on the corner of Holland is, I think it's the right distance, but the one on the east side is way down the street. So that's the one you're talking about moving next to probably across from the other one, right, Amira?
Right. And as City Attorney Judah had mentioned that in the heyday of the St. Hyacinth's pre-K school, there was busing that ran twice a day for pickup and twice a day for drop off. And it was a heavily congested area with the addition of the parents, which just compounded the problem. But for the past several years, St. Hyacinth's has not provided busing for any of the students and solely relies on walkers and parents to transport their children. In addition to that, there was also a one-time drop-off, one-time pickup where they run a full program versus a half-day program, which lessens the traffic. In addition to that, they also opened another branch of the pre-K school at the McKinley School called the McKinley Academy. So that took a portion of the children to the other side of the city, lessening the traffic even more. So what we were left with was the relics of a school bus route with no buses. And that just complicated it for residents to park their vehicles, especially with the alternative parking, which back in the day, there was no alternative parking after April 1st. But with that change, now you have all the vehicles restricted to one side and making it even more difficult to find a parking space in front of your home. So I think just all the pieces of the puzzle finally came together where the residents seeing it more of a restriction for them to operate freely and finding themselves getting tickets when they're parked too close to the, past the no parking sign.
All right, thank you. Anyone else care to be heard on that issue?
On the question, so who owns the property on both of those corners? Are they, does the school own that, or do we know? Who owns St. Hyacinth's?
St. Hyacinth's, the rectory that's on the corner.
Yeah.
I know the property across the street, which is, I believe, the east end. Is that the east end? West, it's west. That's
West
a
towards the lake.
family, yeah, family property owned. And then the rectory, honestly, I do not know, because I know that the
Yeah.
building was up for sale several years ago, and I
Oh,
believe,
okay.
so I believe they were divvied and sold individually, but I'm not for certain.
Because both of those properties, the grass hasn't been cut yet, and it's like over a foot tall already. So I was just wondering if it's something we got to keep an eye on. Okay, thank you.
You're
Does
welcome.
anybody, excuse me, does anyone have the address? I'll look it up on ARPA's.
Nah, doesn't matter. They're both on Ridge Road, so I don't know.
I guess we don't have the address, but thank you
No.
for the offer, Linda. All right, anything else on that? Item number 4. Moving on to agenda item number 5, communication from division and our department heads. Director of Recreation, Brian Laxo, requests City Council approve attached request for use of Veterans Stadium by St. John Vianney Girls Varsity Softball Team, May 17th, 20th, and 24th. Proof of insurance was provided. Anyone care to be heard on that?
How much
I-
is that for free? Is that for nothing again?
It is. I've never charged OLV. They've been using it many times. I know St. John Vianney is not within the city. I don't know if you want to establish a policy that establishes a payment. It's never been done before, but again, any suggestions anyone has, I'm open to.
So what, that's the church in South Buffalo? The old, what was it?
I'm not certain the location. The request actually, I believe, came in through Chuck Clark's office and was referred to me. We didn't have any conflicts that day, and I'm putting it before the council.
Councilman Sirdike, St. John Vianney is on Southwestern Boulevard, near the Five Corners or whatever you know it as. Across from the, I think there's a Lowe's and a Tops.
Yeah.
Why are they coming to Lackawanna? Were they here before or no? I never heard of them.
That's a great question.
They needed a venue for a tournament, and the closest venue that they could find before was, I believe, in North Tonawanda, and wanted to reach out to us to see if they could schedule their home games at a closer location. I can reach out to them and get more details if you'd like to hold off on voting until I get them. I mean, well, I guess, well, there's not gonna be enough time for that at this point, so.
Director.
And again, if you'd like to establish some sort of a pricing system for things of this nature in the future, that's something we can talk about, obviously, but it's just never been established, so I've never done it to this point. That's something that we want to do going forward. I'm open to all opinions of the council, obviously.
No, I understand. I'm not blaming you. I'm just wondering what, all of a sudden everyone's coming to Lackawanna for the free stadium, and we got to mow the grass. We got to pick the garbage up. We got expenses, the lights, so, all right.
So what is the procedure, if you know, Brian, about if Lackawanna residents wanted to go to other cities to rent their facilities? Do you know if there's?
Good luck.
That's not something that I've looked into at this point, but I could do that without any issue. I could certainly canvass a few different colleagues in other locations if you'd like.
Okay. Fair enough.
I would think the activity might bring some business to the local businesses. Might be helpful for our economy.
Right,
I-
right.
I'd be reluctant to turn them away just because of a fee. Anyone else wish to be heard on that agenda item number 5?
It's just for the May 18th date. That's it, right? Nothing further.
17,
20. I'm sorry.
It's just on the 3 specific days they requested it.
Okay.
Anyone else? Item number 6, again from Director Laxo, request City Council approval attached request for Veterans Stadium, Bethlehem Park Playground, Avery Playground by LA Sports Club, Inc. for flag football games and practices, as well as the Lackawanna Soccer Club Camp is indicated in the included schedule. Programs begin on July 9th, 2022 and on October 29th, 2022. LA Sports Club will not have access to Veterans Stadium on the 20th, 26th, 27th of 2022. Proof of insurance was included through July 23rd of 2022. A new certificate of insurance will be provided prior to the expiration date of the current certificate. Anyone have any comments?
So who's gonna make sure they turn in their insurance in July?
That's me.
Okay,
Anyone else? Moving on item, agenda item number 7, again from Director Laxo. Request City Council approve attached request for use of Veterans Stadium by Kaya Robinson for a charity flag football event on August 20th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Proof of insurance as well as details of the event are attached. Anyone have any comments?
yeah, I do. She's a Lackawanna resident? Have they done this before?
Perfectly honest, I don't have an address for her. She reached out to me. I would imagine so, based on the conversation we had. But to be perfectly frank, I can't confirm that at this point.
And it says, her plans as well, her plans are outlined in her letter. I didn't get no details on her plans. Did anyone else?
I didn't see any.
I got proof of insurance.
Well, yeah,
If I didn't submit that, I apologize. I know I have it. And I thought it was submitted along with everything else.
Well.
I don't see it in here. I don't know if it wasn't submitted. What is the date on that one again? You wanted to table that. What they wanted to do is have a game and food stands, like just hot dogs and hamburgers. I told them they would have to adhere to county permit processes and pizzas and soda pops and things like that. Raffles. It's a charity event. Again, I thought that their submission included her details that she wrote out in her request. Like I said, if you want to table this and maybe I could present that for the next meeting.
If I could jump in here to the council, did you guys get, this is a 3-page communication. The first is a letter from Director Laxo. Then there's also the certificate of liability insurance. Sandwiched in between that was a letter to the council describing the event. Did you not get that?
no,
I got
I'm not seeing it.
no, I didn't get it.
I
You
don't
want me
have
to read it too? Would you like me to read it? It's not long.
How
It's
long
pretty
is it?
brief.
Yeah, it's very simple. It says, my name is Kaya Robinson. I am looking to hold a memorial flag football event at Veterans Stadium on August 20th, 2022 from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. in honor of our son Malik, who we lost November 4th, 2020 to an asthma attack. All proceeds will be going to Camp Notawees, which is a camp that allows kids ages 7 to 14 with severe asthma to have the camping experience with medical staff and volunteers present for their safety. This event is a family event and will consist of the following: flag football, hot dogs, pizza, basket raffle, music at a respectable level, a sweets and beverage table, and memorial shirts are available. This event is an effort to raise enough money to help another family. This field is the last place my son played with his brother. It would be a fitting way to keep his light in the world. Thank you for your consideration. If you didn't get that, I apologize, because it was certainly submitted to me by the recreation director. So I don't know how it didn't get in there, but that's what it says. I'll get hard copies for you guys tomorrow.
Well, no, that's great. That explains the whole thing. Puts a totally different light on it. Thank you. It would have been nice to have that. Thank you.
Anyone else have any comments? All right, moving on to agenda item number 8 from our city assessor, Deborah Stulsky Wakelam. She submitted to the city council a formal response regarding proposed sale of property at 27 Washington Street, indicating the assessed valuation is $3,800 and recommends that if the property sold, be sold for that. Anyone have any questions or comments on that?
Yeah, Councilman Anderson here. At what time would, when did the city purchase that land?
The city got it, excuse me, the city had it from interim auction from the county in November 1st of 1989,
89. Okay,
89.
all right. There's a bill or work order that was put into
Clean it
clean
up.
up. Yeah.
Yep.
In 2020.
Yes,
Okay, so the city's been taking care of their property since 89?
basically what I guess has happened, and this is what I have found out to be correct. The person that is interested in buying it, okay, who lives at 23 Washington,
Right.
thought for some reason when he purchased his property, that this was his property. So he continued to use it, erect a pool, and this was back in 2019. He erected a pool, some other things, and continued to use it as his own till obviously he found out it was not. Since the pool has been removed, the fence that is at the front of the property in the picture, that is actually city fence. The shed at the back is city's also. So the city has somewhat been maintaining it. To whatever extent, I don't know, but I also feel that by going past it, that the man next door has obviously been cutting the grass, I would think, and picking up garbage or whatever else may have come across. That's why he's interested.
All right, so this bill for $3,200, who's responsible?
Well, it is the city property and city cleaned it up, so no one's responsible for it. It is our bill. We paid it and we would not be asking anyone to pay us back.
I see.
I was there today, Councilman Surdick. I was there and that property is a mess. I mean, it's a hazard.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
So, I don't know, maybe over the last 20 years, we've sold many, many city lots that were non-buildable for $500 to $1,500, just to get rid of them. Number one, it relieves us of the obligation to maintain it. Number two, it puts a piece of property back on the tax roll, or it gives an adjoining neighbor a larger lot so that they can hopefully improve it and realize possibly a greater return when they ultimately sell. So I think it's in the best interest of the city to get rid of it. There's a fence on the property now. It's on our property, so it's ours. The city didn't put that fence there. I think it was one of the prior homeowners that put that there. Mayor iFollow had a good suggestion. In order to get the best return for what it's worth, we should see if the adjoining landowner on the other side has any interest in it. And then either, the highest bidder, or they might want to split it or something like that. But there's a small structure on that property now. If some kids are playing on it and ultimately get hurt, guess what? The city's going to get the notice of claim. So we've already spent over $3,000 cleaning it up. And as Councilman Sirdike has indicated, it's not the most picturesque piece of property that the city owns. So I think we should get rid of it for whatever we can get for it. Perhaps we should offer it to the adjoining landowner just to make sure that there's no one out there else that would be willing to pay a little bit more. But if this owner that put in the offer is willing to buy it as is, whereas, and remove the structure that's on there, then I'm all for selling it, but that's up to the council, so.
Am I able
Well,
to?
Can I say something?
Can I say something?
Councilman
Wait a minute.
Surdick, I was
hold
there
it, hold it.
for a half hour today.
Councilman, let me just put this out there.
Sure.
Before we get too far astray. I'm not in favor of notifying any of the neighbors as to the availability of this lot. No other neighbor expressed an interest, did anything regarding the cleanup, showed no interest in it. The gentleman who has made an offer has been maintaining the property and has made a legitimate offer for a reasonable amount of money of $1,500. He assumed it was part of his parcel when he when he bought the home initially. So to invite other people to bid or whatever on the property at this point, when the neighbor is already, the guy who's interested has already been active on the property, I think would be somewhat unfair. If you want to be fair, then let's follow the city policy and put it up for auction. Otherwise, I think they should go to the original party interested for the amount that he offered. Plain
Right.
and simple.
Well, like, can I say something,
Yes.
Councilman Thurlake? The lot on it, there is no building on the other side of the lot. It's an empty lot. The people across the street own it. It's a buildable lot, the other lot, not the 30-foot one. But there's a big lot right next door that somehow the city sold, which I
60
don't think.
feet.
Huh?
60 feet. It belongs to 33 Washington.
Right.
Yes.
So, there is nobody else that wants to buy that property, and it's gonna cost the guy at least $2,000 to clean that lot up.
If I may,
Go ahead.
Yes.
Amir Maflahi, First Ward City Council member. I first want to preface my statement before moving forward with, I, as a representative of the First Ward, I work for the First Ward residents. I represent them here on the council, and I defend them in these types of situations, not because of I have any type of loyalty outside of just being their representative, but based on the proof of not just the conversations that I had, but the proof that they were able to provide to me regarding this particular parcel. When Mr. Motion acquired this piece of property, Jean, if you may show the image of the Google Maps image that I showed you earlier.
Just let me know which one.
Sure, not this one. It's the one with the huge tree in the front. This is, okay, go again.
That one.
One, no. That there. That's how he acquired it. He did not erect a pool. The pool was actually knocked down by Mr. Motion because there were rodents and other debris and rubbish that were collecting all around in that space. That is the space in question. His house is adjacent to that. If you see the city tote, the actual home is behind that. He cleaned all of that space. And upon cleaning it, he was told by the city that he is not allowed to put it out at the curb. When he was informed of that, he said, well, what am I supposed to do with this space that the city owns? Therefore, they should be thankful that I'm cleaning it without having, raising an issue about it. He said, my kids are fall victim to this hazardous type of material that has been left by the city, and I don't know what else to do with it. He was informed that he could be ticketed or fined, to which he argued and said, there's no way that I'm going to pay anything for a piece of property that I do not own. Sell it to me and I'll maintain it, and we will not have this discussion further. He put in several bids and they were rejected behind the scenes. He was never informed of them being rejected. He just was never informed. This was prior to me becoming a First Ward City Council member. When I became council member, he reached out to me. I did a tour of his property. Jean, if you can show current pictures of how his property looks. This is how it looks today. He added that addition to the front, the little corridor that was never there. He did the driveway. And if you see the strip of land that is extending from the sidewalk to the back of the home, that's his property line. He has nothing beyond that. The shed and the big bushel of broken branches is city property and city debris. The shed in and of itself has been housing numerous rodents. He's attempted to build a fence to block it from his children getting into that space. He was told at one point, this is not for sale. So he believed what he was told by city employees and reached out to me and asked, what can I do to either have the city clean this up or for me to acquire it to clean it up myself. He put in a bid for 1,500 back in February 22nd of 22, and has never heard anything else. I have questions regarding that. Why is the city cleanup bill even relevant to our discussion today? This has never been normal procedure to make it known of what the maintenance of a property was. There is no taxes that are in arrears that's connected to say, well, this property has, a bill attached to it for taxes that are in arrears, therefore you have to take on that responsibility. And secondly, if the city did in fact clean up the space, why didn't they finish? Why leave the most hazardous thing there? And lastly, when an individual puts in a bid for a piece of property that the city owns that is clearly for sale, when does that information then become known to the city council, whether they bid $1 or whether they bid $10 million? Why aren't we ever informed? And then we have residents that are upset because for valid reasons, and it wasn't going to be part of the discussion with the council until it was brought on by the resident themselves directly to the council. So I would love to hear answers today.
Am I able to say just one thing?
Please.
According to the Office of the State Comptroller, there are gifting implications associated with accepting a bid that is less than assessed value without due diligent effort being made to at least get assessed value. I think it would set a precedent. You don't have a policy or some type of rationale or some reason to sell it and not try to get the assessed value. I could research it further with the Office of the State Comptroller, but I just think we might think an audit with the.
I think what we're trying to reach is that the assessed value is not accurate. That's what I think the main topic is. So although I understand that if a property was sold for far less than what it is assessed, then there's some fishy business going on. But I've seen better property sold for less. So that's my take. Where did the $3,800 come from? Does that include the bill of $3,200, leaving the assessed value at $600? Why is the cleanup bill even part of our discussion today?
Okay, so let me address all this. First of all, the $3,200 cleanup bill was brought to me by Tony DeSantis because he is apparently the one who had discussion with Mr. Motion about the purchase of the property back whenever that happened. I was not there. I had nothing to do with this. When you came into our office, I was not even there that day. I was out sick.
Correct.
Okay, so I was made aware of this after taxable status date. The reason something is assessed a certain way is we just went through a reval 2 years ago. And it may not be a buildable lot, but it is a buildable lot with a variance. That whole neighborhood has 30-foot lots, so it is a buildable lot. And the assessed value came from whoever that is, a GAR that we hired for the reval. I mean, that's where the assessed value came from. If we're going to start setting a precedence, and I understand about the shed that's sitting there, and I understand that maybe it wasn't a good cleanup. I apologize for that. I have no reason to, but I will. But when do we stop giving things away? It has an assessed value. And we're going to set a precedent, and the next person's going to come in the 2nd ward or the 4th ward and say, well, you sold that to that guy for $1,500, and this is assessed at blah, 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 so you should sell it to us for $1,500. It's setting a precedence. Assessed value is assessed value. And as you know, everything is going up. I don't care if you're selling a lot, you're selling a car, you're selling a house. So everything has a value, and it's worth more today than it was worth yesterday. So I'm not disputing that something may be overassessed, but everybody has the right then to come and challenge the assessment once a year in front of the bar hearings. If we sell this property for $1,500, he's going to come back to us at the end of the year and say, well, I only paid $1,500. I want the assessment reduced. So where does that keep us then? The next guy's going to come and do the same thing. So if that's answered most of your questions, if you have any more,
Council President?
I think as a practical matter, I'm sorry, Dean, to
Oh,
interrupt.
go right ahead.
As a practical matter, it may be a stretch to consider that a buildable lot. It's a 30-foot lot. There's a 50-foot minimum frontage that's required for a building permit. I don't know of anyone today who even
can't
has a
build on
plan
it.
to put
Can't
up
build on it.
a lot, hold it. To put up a lot put up a house on a 30-foot lot. So the assessed valuation may be $3,800. Well, let's say we go back and make that offer to him, saying its assessed value is $3,800, and he refuses to buy it. Still city-owned property. It's still a mess. There's still a lot of debris. There's still a hazard. The city hasn't done what it was supposed to do to clean the property up and continue to maintain it. If that had been a private owner, that owner would have been cited already for the shed alone. But the city is not going to cite itself, obviously. And I appreciate the fact that there are gifting issues here, and not to say that this is what has been done, how it's been done in the past, because it is not accurate. But we try to get the best value we can from a legitimate offer on a piece of property that otherwise no one is interested in. So I think it requires us as a council to balance whatever the assessed valuation is with the interest in somebody really wanting to buy it. So let's be practical here. I don't want to talk theory. I understand what the law is. I've been a lawyer for over 40 years, but that lot's been sitting there since, what was it, Deborah? 1989? Okay, so where are we going with this, folks?
oh, I don't dispute the fact that we should sell the property by any means. I don't.
No, and I'm not saying you said that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, I understand it's $3,800, but we as a council can come to a decision to sell for less. It doesn't constitute a gift, in my opinion. And if this is an egregious violation of the gift situation, there are dozens of other properties that have been transferred questionably, in my opinion, in the past, and it's never been raised as an issue. This is a legitimate offer for a piece of property that is not interested in by anyone else. And the city's has owned this since 1989, hasn't done a thing with it, but once in a while cleans it up, didn't even finish the job. And this guy's, I'm assuming, has been cutting the grass for all this time. So I think this council needs to be practical under the circumstances.
So let me just say this. So hypothetically speaking, if the council agrees to sell this lot for $1,500, there has to be stipulation that the shed's going to come down, it's going to be demolitioned, and it's going to be cleaned up, I would think.
Well, that could very well be a stipulation, and we could add that to the direction if we direct it to be sold.
Can I please weigh in?
But that's aside and apart from the fact that we're trying to sell it. Councilman Moretti, go ahead. I cut you off the last.
Listen, I had a similar problem here in the 3rd Ward on Fernal. It was a piece of city-owned property with a similar shed that was housing rodents and stuff. I brought it to the Department of Public Works, and Tony DeSantis put it on his list, came in, cleaned the property up, took the shed down, and it was resolved. So my contention is with this whole problem, number one, first, what we need to do, get the DPW, go down there and clean that lot up. If that was a privately owned piece of property, we'd be putting fines on that person. And here we are, as a city, own the property, and we're not taking care of it. Number one, I'd like to see that cleaned up within the week. It should be done. And that's how I feel about this. This is ridiculous. How do we own properties and we let them go that bad? This poor guy with his children, and he's got rodents living in there. That's a shame. That's my thought on this.
I
We
gotta
don't
add
have
one more
anybody
thing.
here from the Department of Public Works, but I will call them, or Amira, you'd like to call them tomorrow. Please ask them if this is city property. Let's do our due diligence and let's get that cleaned up. Not for this man to have to do it, that's been taking care of it. And I could see, you could see the post where you wanted to put a fence up, and I don't blame them if you got children. This is a shame. We should be ashamed of ourselves, what has gone on in this city.
Absolutely.
This needs to stop. Clean it up. That's our responsibility.
So
Okay.
Dean,
Councilman Sirdike, he told me that he's done cleaning up. He's
I don't
done.
blame them.
And under those branches, there's all kinds of concrete blocks and bricks and there's holes in the ground. It's a death trap. I walked through there. There's got to be 2 truckloads of chunks of concrete in there under them branches and that one wall on that shed's ready to fall down. It's a liability. So
Absolutely. The saddest part of all of this is that it was exponentially worse when he acquired
yeah.
his home.
I talked to
And
the neighbor across the street, Mrs. Anderson. I talked to a couple neighbors down there. They said this poor guy's been trying to clean that up for 3-4 years now. And
Yep.
they won't take his stuff, like you said. And
Mhm.
I feel for him.
Yeah, I had never met him until he came and spoke with me about this situation, and his frustration was immeasurable. And at the same time, he was extremely respectful and wanted
Right.
progress. He did not want to, he didn't want to crucify me about it. He just wanted to know, where do I go from here? Because he said every time he came to City Hall, he got 10 different answers from 3 or 4 different people. Yes, the same person would give him different answers depending on the day of the week. And he is just at his wit's end. And this is a plus for the city, the taxes that it'll produce and the beautification of the neighborhood. It's a win-win. And to put a label or a price tag of $3,800 is absolutely absurd.
so I think for the council today, we need to decide, one, do we accept the offer from this gentleman, and 2, for what amount? So unless anyone has anything material to add to this discussion at this point, that's what we're here to do when this item comes up, to entertain that offer. Anyone else?
So what about the city cleaning it up before he buys it? No?
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
should.
I
That's what I
agree.
was saying.
If that
I
was
agree.
anybody's private property, that man would have had 10, 15, 20 citations. But here
Right,
we
I know.
are, city-owned property, and this is the way we leave it. That's disgusting. That
No.
really aggravates me.
Yep.
Clean it up. Talk to the DPW, get those guys down there, clean this up.
Wow.
That's my thought on this. That I'm just, it just, boom. I don't know what thought. I really get aggravated.
Cleaned up and then accept the
And
offer.
I would accept the 1,500 in a heartbeat.
I agree. I think that's
Right.
only fair. He's already did most of the
That's right.
hard work and cleaning up. That pool was not erected by him, and to hear that today is,
And for all his frustrations that he's had in the double talk when he went up to City Hall, which used to go on, I don't think it goes on anymore, but it used to go on. This man deserves, I think he deserves it. That's my opinion.
So
I
should we
would-
table it till it's cleaned up and then bring it up again?
I don't see why it needs to be tabled.
No,
Let's take some action on it tonight, whatever that action might be, but still direct the DPW to clean it up. That's
very
all.
good.
I agree. I agree.
I'm all
That's-
for that.
I agree. I just want to say one thing to Amir. You were not here when this property was purchased. I was not here when this property was purchased. I
I was
don't,
alive. I was alive and I lived on
So was-
Wilkes-Barre.
but so was I
I-
alive. That's not an issue. My only
I
thing,
drive up
Yes.
and down that street every day and I've seen residents that lived there before him, and I've seen them in the pool, and I've seen them with the excessive amount of garbage, and I've seen when
I
he moved in and
understand.
cleaned it up. So although I may not have had a title of city council, I am still privy to the history of this
I
building.
understand, but I can only go by what I am told. and what people bring to me as proof and or whatever the case may be.
Down there and look at it.
You know, if somebody brings me something, it's my due diligence to look at it.
Right, to look at it
I
and to look
don't, I don't
into
think
it.
anyone's,
I'm
I don't think
sorry?
anyone's,
To
I don't
look
think
into it.
anyone's
You're absolutely
questioning,
right.
Deborah,
Yes.
we really need to move on to this. I don't
Definitely.
think anybody's questioning your efforts, Deborah, or your position on this. It was called to your attention. You are now the city assessor, and you brought it to our attention, and you did what you're supposed to do. And let's move on.
Yes, that was my only part of even doing this thing, was to give you all the information that you needed to make a good decision.
Thank
And
you.
we thank you for that. Okay. With that, I believe item 8 was the last item. So I will formally call the Monday, May 9th, 2022 Lackawanna City Council meeting to order. I would ask everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all. Thank you. Mr. City Clerk, would you take the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Council President, Council Muflahi,
Present.
Anderson,
Here.
Moretti,
here.
Sirdike,
Here.
Morano,
Here.
Department Heads, Law,
Here.
Development,
Here.
Public Works. He's not there. Public Safety,
Here.
Controller. I did see her earlier. I'm going to mark her as present. Recreation,
Here.
Public Information,
Here.
hearings from citizens. We do not have any received prior to this meeting. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 25th, 2022.
Morano moves to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of April 25th, 2022 as written.
Maflahe seconds.
So I have a motion by Morano, second by Muflahi to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting of April 25, 2022 as written. Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Departmental reports 1 through 3.
Morano moves to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 3, 1 through 3 inclusive.
Moretti second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 3. Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Communications from the council, number 4. Councilmember Muflahi requests the city council approve relocating the new no parking here to corner sign on Holland Avenue at Ridge Road from its present location to the standard 30-foot distance from the corner. If approved, the law department to draft a traffic ordinance reflecting same.
Morano moves to approve request, refer to the law department for a traffic ordinance.
Maflahe seconds.
Do I have a motion by Morano, second by Muflahi to approve request, refer to law department for a traffic ordinance? Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 5-0. Communications from division department heads. Number 5, Director of Recreation requests the city council approve the attached request for use of Veterans Stadium by the St. John Vianney Girls Varsity Softball Team on May 17th, 20th, and 24th, 2022. Proof of insurance attached.
Morano moves to approve request.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve request. Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
No.
Morano.
Yes.
34-1. Number 6, Director of Recreation requests the city council approve the attached request for use of Veterans Stadium, Bethlehem Park Playground, and AV Playground by LA Sports Club, Inc. for flag football games and practices, as well as a Lackawanna Soccer Club camp as indicated on their included schedule. These programs will begin on July 9th, 2022 and end on October 29th, 2022. LA Sports Club will not have access to Veterans Stadium on August 20th, 26th, and 27th, 2022. Proof of insurance is included through July 23rd, 2022, and a new certificate of liability insurance will be provided prior to the expiration of the current certificate and will be monitored by the Director of Recreation.
Maflahe moves to approve the request.
Moretti
Anderson,
second.
second.
Muflahi, second by Anderson to approve request. Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Definitely yes.
Morano.
yes,
Carried 5-0. Item number 7, also Director of Recreation requests the City Council approve the attached request for use of Veterans Stadium by Kaya Robinson for a charity flag football event on August 20th, 2022 from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Proof of insurance as well as details of the event are attached, and you will get your copies tomorrow. I apologize again for not having it in there.
Morano moves to approve request.
Moretti
Maflahe second.
second.
Motion by Morano, second by Muflahi to approve request. Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Ready,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes,
Carried 5-0. Item number 8, City Assessor submits to the City Council a formal response regarding the proposed sale of property at 27 Washington Street. Now,
Morano moves.
Mr. Council President, just before we take a vote on this thing, what I've got worded here is to accept the offer of $1,500 with the city to clean up the property prior to transfer of the deed to Fadi Mushin, 23 Washington Street. Rick, is there anything else that should be added to that?
Well,
Who's gonna-
I think they should make the motion, not you, first of all, but.
I'm not
other than
making,
that-
I'm not making the motion. I'm giving the language to see if that's what they want to make a motion
Yeah, I don't know
to.
what they want, but no, I think it's fine.
Okay,
I make the motion to accept the aforesaid offer and submit a condition to the city that the property be properly cleaned up, including the removal of the shed prior to the sale, and the sale amount should be $1,500.
And for the record, Councilman Morano, that is because of the current unsafe condition of the property, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
Moretti seconds.
we have a motion by Morano, second by Moretti to accept the offer of $1,500 with the city to properly clean the property, which includes removal of the shed due to unsafe conditions and prior to the transfer of the deed to Mr. Fadi Motion, 23 Washington Street. Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
yes.
Carried 5-0. Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Mr. City Clerk. I myself have 2 items from our last council meeting. One was the regarding the video conferencing resolution or ordinance that was suggested we pass to have that ability in place in the future. My opinion is I think we should enact such legislation to give us that opportunity. Who knows what the circumstances will be in the future? And to that end, I don't know if our law department, if Rick, you had any, if you looked into this matter any further. I do believe there's a time, it's time sensitive in order for us to enact this legislation. Am I accurate?
Well, I think I did look at it today, Councilman Moreno. I think the only time sensitivity is if you wanted to have it enacted before the expiration of the what they're now allowing meetings to be done remotely. But I think we can enact this at any time. I looked at it a little closer today and I did pull the law. I think it's beneficial because you may have a situation where, say, a department head is out of town or sick and you want them to appear to discuss an issue that's on the agenda. But the statute does require that we still have a public meeting place and that we have a quorum, or several meeting places. So I think as far as the council goes, for the most part, the council is still going to have to meet, or at least a majority of them, or be available by video conferencing. But then I think it'd be more beneficial if you want other participants to be able to participate, such as department heads. I did also pull a resolution from another municipality, so I could work on it and have something available for the next council meeting if you wanted to review that.
I would request that.
Okay,
we
well,
can
it's been
place it on the
tabled
next-
and I'm working on it. So before the next meeting, I'll have it to all the council members so that if they have any questions or comments or any suggestions, I'll try and give you what the options are if there's a couple things that we can, that we have a choice on. And
Great, thank you.
I'll circulate that via email
All
and
right.
through Jeff as well, so that Jeff knows everyone got it.
Great.
Can I
On the
ask
question,
Okay.
Council President,
Yes, yes.
Mr. Judah, as far as the department heads, they're also required to come to the meetings. They're not all automatically going to be able to be on video
Correct.
conference. That's part of the charter, I think.
Right, but this expands the video conferencing to subcommittees, department heads, et cetera. So,
Right, I understand. I just want to make sure that all of a sudden now we're not going to have any department heads at the meetings all the time.
No.
They're all going to be
Nope.
home. That's not right.
nope.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Muflahi, you had an issue?
Right, so when this is drafted, are we gonna be able to put our own twist or caveats or spins on that language, or is it strictly through the legal department? And solely on what their advice is on how to handle it?
Well, I'll do the initial draft
Okay,
and I'll submit it to the council. And then if there's certain things that you have a choice on, I'll kind of let you know what the choices are.
okay,
But then again, here's a good example, what Mr. Sirdike just brought up. If you want something specifically in there that says if anyone is excused, it has to be done with the council president's approval or something like that. We can work on it that way, but you'll be able to comment on it and make suggestions. So yes, I guess is the answer to your question.
all right. And would that have to be in executive sessions if we were to sit down and discuss those
No.
particulars? No? Okay,
No,
okay,
nope. As long as we don't have a quorum, you can email me your comments and then I'll submit it. I'll try and tie it up so that it'll be hopefully it'll be it'll be presented in a manner that the council can take action on it.
Thank you. Rick, I have a second item for you and possibly either the controller or even the Department of DPW. The state audit indicated to us that we need to address the network management and controls, particularly the issue of garbage collection fees. There seems to be a discrepancy, and there was a suggestion that we possibly modify our ordinance or by resolution. I'm not sure. However, that's worded so that in my reading, there was exemptions that were granted that maybe should not have been granted. I made an attempt to find out where the exemptions are, and I haven't been able to get a list of those as of yet. I think maybe Tony DeSantis might have those based on my conversation with Marcia at the assessor's office. So, and I do believe that this is time sensitive to have to address the issue raised by the audit.
Got
Okay, well,
90 days.
No one's asked me to address any of the issues raised in the audit, and quite honestly, I haven't even seen it. I've heard of it, but I haven't been asked to review it, but I will do that and give a council report at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I'd asked Tony about that, and he said that it had no financial implications, just a change of procedure.
Linda, you keep breaking up. We don't get your entire comments.
I don't know, this is a new speaker, so I apologize. Tony had said that the subject of the audit is record keeping, no financial implication. So I think it's a change that has to be done or come from Tony's office.
Okay. Rick, did you get that?
No, I didn't, but I will, I'll speak to Linda in the morning about it and make sure that if there's anything that requires some timeliness, we'll respond appropriately.
Thank you.
It's all in the report.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All right, does anyone else have any other items tabled or old business they wish to raise at this point in time? If not, then Morano moves to adjourn.
Maflahe seconds.
I have a motion by Morano, second by Muflahi to adjourn the meeting. Muflahi,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
350. Have a great week.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
Good night.